Welcome back to Malonze Productions. So today, this is going to be something a little different than what I usually do. Today I'm going to be making a lore video. Now, not on any specific event or character. Instead, this is going to be on various ores, metals, and minerals that are found all throughout Azeroth. As a role player, I delve deep into the various lore of the world itself in order to make my stories and my character better. Now, I always tended to stick to a blacksmith type of character because, as it turns out, I actually can blacksmith in real life. I have dealt with it in just my backyard with a steel bucket and some coal, like raw coal, as well as charcoal. But I've also got a 2-year welding degree, so I'm pretty familiar with metallurgy. Now, of course, this is just a video game, so a lot of the metal here is going to obviously be enchanted, fantasy, magical. So I went in and I looked at every single metal and ore that we know about in the lore. So that's including metal that you don't normally farm with the smithing and mining professions, such as Rethbon, Bloodstone, and many others. So I'm going to take you through and tell you about all of the various ores and metal from various sources that I've been able to find, as well as my own personal knowledge from looking up various lore aspects in the game and my own experience with metallurgy. Now, this is going to be a multi-part series since there are many metals on the various continents and other planets and realms. For the first few parts, we will be starting off with various metals from Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms, in no particular order. Now let us begin. The first metal everyone should know about is going to be copper. Copper is an extremely common metal used on all continents for its high conductivity of electricity and heat. It is not an extremely strong metal and is a poor conductor for weaponry and armor, but this only saves to make it cheaper and more widespread for engineers, as it is considered one of the first metals to be discovered. The ore is generally found as a greenish-blue coloration. When refined, the metal turns into a more orange coloration, and then over time, as the metal is not properly maintained, it will return back to its natural green coloration. Overall, this metal is a good conductor of electricity. It is also used as a form of currency, but it is not that well made for armor and weapons. Tin is a common metal found throughout Azeroth. It is, however, a low-quality metal and is not used for much beyond mixing it with other metals to create an alloy. The good thing about tin is that it is a cheap way to create all types of alloys such as bronze and pewter. The downside is that it's not much useful by itself. Bronze is an alloy created from copper and tin. It is the very first metal ever to be crafted into a usable weapon with some form of durability. While not as strong as iron or steel, its flexibility and lower melting point makes it easier for the lesser races to craft with it. It was known to be the weapon of choice for humans during the Troll Wars. However, due to being outdated, it is now merely for ceremony purposes, decoration, and even for rivets. The good thing about bronze is that it is a low-grade weaponry. It is used for decorations and trim, as well as dinnerware. The downside to bronze is that it is outdated for armor and weapons. Iron is one of the most common Azerothian metals that can be found pretty much everywhere. Being the next step from bronze, it is much stronger and durable than bronze. However, it does have a lot more weight and requires a much higher melting point. The iron is usually a brown rust color, even as dust or mud. The metal has to be extracted in a foundry before being remelted once again into an ingot. Iron is prone to rusting, just like steel is. Rusting can cause the metal to weaken over time. The best form of cleaning it off is by polishing or grinding, and then, to prevent the rust, you must coat it with oil. Iron has been used in weapons and armor for a very long time. However, due to the weight and brittleness compared to steel and other metals, it is no longer ideal and has been outdated over time. The good thing about iron is that it is a mid-grade for metal for armor and weapons. It is tool metal, building material, and it's very common. The bad thing about iron is that it's very heavy, high melting point, it can rust, and it is impure and hard to refine. Mithril is an uncommon metal that is an overall good metal to use. It is very lightweight and durable for physical uses in armor and swords. It also has a high conductivity for magic that can enhance spells and enchantments. Many mages will use Mithril for rings, trinkets, runes, and armor to help enhance their magical abilities. It has been known to be used as a mana bank, where you could even store energy within the metal and then draw from it later on. Mithril has a very lustrous blue sheen color to it, which helps stand out from the rest of the metals. The good thing about Mithril is it is a good conductivity of magic, highly recommended. It is lightweight, durable, and good for weapons and armor. The downside is that it is uncommon and expensive to buy. However, it is still easier to find than true silver. Next we have Dark Iron, named after the Dark Iron Dwarf clan. It is found all throughout the Black Rock Mountain and as deep as the molten core. The metal is extremely rare, and not only that, it is extremely hard to work with. The Dark Iron Dwarves are the first and only mortal race to have managed to learn how to work with such. The Dark Iron is extremely resistant to fire, and heat in general. There is only one forge and anvil on Azeroth that is magically imbued with the essence of fire elementals from the molten core and Ragnaros himself in order to process and forge the iron. However, due to the nature of the metal, the ore is just as impure as normal iron, which results in a lot of slag. Most of the ore has to be tossed out due to the amount of slag, resulting in very little return on pure metal. It is a very tedious process. The good thing about dark iron is that it is extremely resistant to fire and heat, and is also very good for making armors and various weapons. However, the metal is highly rare, very hard to process, and almost impossible to acquire. Bloodstone. It is a very rare metal. Only 2 or 3 known mines have been found to have bloodstone. Bloodstone is a very soft and brittle metal, not good for much of anything other than grinding down into a powder. It both has magical sensitivity as well as a toxic nature to it. The toxins cause a harsh pain through the body, often turn into poisons for the less reputable. While it is mostly unheard of, it is sought after by the more shady mortals. However, the majority of those who know about it tend to not go near it, as it is rumored to be created by demon blood that has crystallized and hardened over time. The good thing about bloodstone, it is used for poisons, and it's got a good magical sensitivity. The downside is that it is fel corrupted, toxic, brittle, and rare. I thank you for watching this lore guide on metal in the Warcraft universe. This will be a multi-part series, and if you wish to see more of these types of videos, please subscribe. If you are curious on other types of private servers, if you love survival games and even cosplay, expect more from me if you subscribe here, as well as my other channel, Malonze Productions Cosplay, for more cosplay and artistic types of videos. Thank you for watching.